So next up, we have another great speaker, Karl Stone, who's regional manager, Europe dotdigital, and he's going to talk about work smarter, not harder, 3 ways to stay agile in 2021. As we discussed all day today and yesterday, agile is the theme everyone has to pay attention to. So, Karl, over to you.
Thanks very much. Hi, my name is Karl Stone. I'm the regional manager for Europe at dotdigital. So I'm responsible for the teams that look after our existing customers, partners, and prospects in the European region. And as we said there, I'm going to be talking about agility and specifically how you can keep agile in your communication strategy. So as we all would have seen over the last year, we know that plans can be ripped apart very, very quickly. And if we've learned anything, it's to expect the unexpected. That's not terribly practical advice, because how do you prepare for things that are unexpected? Simply, you can't. So what's important is that you have to stay agile. And it might be overcautious, but I'm really not one for predictions. So I will tend to pick a direction, but try never to stay too attached to a plan. So with that in mind, agility means being able to change direction efficiently and effectively. And businesses that aren't able to do that can quite often be left somewhat paralyzed as markets and environments change. And people's habits are changing as well. As the last year's shown, how everybody interacts is changing somewhat, and it might never change back in entirely the same way as it used to be. So I'm going to talk about 3 kind of key concepts to keep that communication strategy agile in 2021 and then beyond. So the first thing really is to understand your audience. Fundamentally, what does the baseline look like? And if you understand that baseline, can you then know quickly when that starts to change? So some crucial ways that you can do that would be to visualize your performance metrics. So for your store, that might be knowing what your average order values are, your average items per order, that kind of thing. But it could be how frequently someone donates if you're a charity. So really understanding those key performance metrics is crucial. Then understand your customers and how they move through a typical life cycle with your business or organization, and be able to see what that normally looks like again, so you can pick up any changes as they happen. Something that's particularly useful is using modeling strategies. So a lot of our commerce customers will use recency, frequency, and monetary value modeling, which fundamentally allows them to understand risks, opportunities, and very quickly determine their priorities or what those should be. The other thing really is to understand where your conversations are happening. So the proliferation of channels and touch points seems to be accelerating, if anything, at the moment. And really, you need to be ready to adopt new channels, work towards consolidating the data from those various interactions at scale. So you'll have had presentations from people like me for years talking about the right message to the right person at the right time, and we're all a bit bored of that. But now it's also the right channel, and understanding, what kinds of conversations should be happening on what channels. And to benefit from some of my experience there, we see that traditional marketing channels like email continue to perform very well, and in fact, year on year, returns are still increasing. So the additional channels, rather than eroding that existing opportunity, are actually increasing the opportunity elsewhere. And we also see the line between service messaging and marketing blurring quite a lot. So you're seeing a lot more SMS for more immediate communication needs and for transactional type messages. But then customer service seems to be happening on channels like WhatsApp a lot more. So it's quite fascinating. You really need to be paying attention to where that conversation is happening, as I said. The third point, I learned my alphabet wrong. I was taught ABT, which is always be testing. So as things change, you need to find out how that works for you. So there's exciting new ideas and opportunities and technology out there. but how your audience react to that will be different from your competitors, and certainly different from people in other industries. So it's really important that we test all the time. Again, in the email world recently, we've seen the rise of AMP, which is a really exciting new technology which allows your emails to be interactive while they're still in the inbox. It's very exciting, but how that could work for you will be something that you'll need to find out through a round of testing. So in summary, consider things like production time. When you're creating your communications, consider how easily the data can flow from one place to another. And another thing that's crucially important, I'm from a technology business, so I would say this, but how well does your tech stack play with each other? I.e., could you swap something out if you need to? Because as things change, you're going to need to maintain the ability to make those changes. So those are my 3 key points. Thanks very much. Yeah, pleasure.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. Great insightful presentation. Lots of questions here. First one from me, AMP and email. And my apologies, I don't know much about that. Do you want to tell us a bit more about that?
Yeah, certainly. So it's a new technology. So it's advanced mobile pages. Essentially, it allows you to interact with the email while it's still in the inbox. So there's some of the key examples that you see a lot of things like carousel. So you can actually actively scroll across the page while it's in there. You could make particular areas expand, or you could tick boxes in there, maybe for feedback, that kind of thing.
Excellent. Okay, and then you talked a bit about the sort of, which I found fascinating, service messaging and marketing messaging coming together. So WhatsApp, which is, we've had a bit of chat about that earlier on today. Tell us a bit more about that and what brands can do to make sure they use the best of both, or should they be combining the 2 things in one communication?
Sure. So I'll approach that backwards if it's all right. So the first thing is to try wherever possible to consolidate the conversations somewhere. So whether that be in a kind of single customer view tool, whether it be a data lake, whatever, just so that you can have an idea of the sentiment of those conversations and use that to change what communication you're sending to whom. And how it works is various ways. I mean, one of the real benefits of WhatsApp is it's very conversational. So we're seeing a lot of chat agents, sitting behind WhatsApp effectively.
Nice segue. Katie here asks, what do you think is the future for conversational commerce and chatbots, etc.? I guess there's been so much development in this area over the last few years, hasn't there?
Yeah, I mean, I think you're going to be able to hit the buy button in lots more places. I think fundamentally is what it comes down to. So, it doesn't matter whether you're scrolling through Instagram now. If it's live in the US, you can buy directly from your Instagram. Whether you're just having a chat through Facebook Messenger or WhatsApp, being able to buy will be increasingly easier. But being able to give you feedback will be easier too. And the thing that brands need to look out for is it's going to be easier for the customer to share their sentiment, good or bad.
Excellent. Steve here asks, what brands have you been most impressed by in terms of consolidated communications?
Oh, that's a tricky one.
we heard from Peter Boots earlier on today, and I guess he was talking about using every channel at his disposal to get across the one message to his customers.
Yeah, absolutely. Trying to think of one that springs immediately to mind. I should mention a customer, but you're allowed if they've signed the box or not. Yeah. I'm sorry, I can't.
That's
think
fine.
of one
It's
straight
fine. So it's hard. But I guess what sort of don't describe your customer. You can't name names. But what sort of activity do you think most impresses you? Give us a sort of a blank example.
So sure. So the really good ones are when you're seeing feedback come through the service messages, maybe following up with NPS score, that kind of thing, assigning a score based on that to the customer, and then using that to influence what communication stream they get. So if somebody's got currently kind of a bit of a bit of dissatisfaction, not pushing the hard sell, for instance, if someone is satisfied, pushing them to share that conversation wider based on those scores. And I've seen some great work where people are combining, using different bits of tech and combining that against one customer profile.
Superb. Well, thank you so much. Some great advice there for everyone out there. Thanks a lot for spending your time with us. Thank you.